Mr. Kirkland. Mr. Kirkland. I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
I can. Did you see my text message?
No. Let me see. Answer your phone. You ain't called me. Oh, did you?
I did twice.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Be right back, ladies and gentlemen. 1 second. I called you twice.
All right, guys. What's up? This is Mr. Invest with Jay, also known as Jeff Money Making Kirkland. We're gonna get started here in just about a minute or so. Let everybody get joined in for a second. We're gonna get the ball rolling. I hope everybody's had a great week this week. Hope everybody can hear me well as well. All right. We're gonna go over a couple things. I promise you guys will get mad value tonight, so stay tuned. Make sure you do grab a pen, paper. Don't be afraid to ask questions. This is an interactive course, so I definitely love when I get a lot of interaction, because you never know, the question that you may have, someone else may be scared to ask it, and because you asked it, that may have helped them out and you didn't even know it. So don't be afraid to ask questions. This is Mr. Robo. We're going to go about what he stands for in a second as well. All right. Cool. So welcome, everybody. All right. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and get it started here. Let me delete some stuff out. Perfect. All right, guys. So one thing to start this off, what I really want to go over, what you guys need to understand. All right. You definitely need to understand market structure, and really what market structure is basically, the whole concept behind market structure. All right. You guys need to understand market structure. When you're doing market structure, okay, you may have heard it called naked charting. All right. And basically, this is you going on your charts, you marking it up, trend lines, support, resistance, things of that nature, which I'm going to go over here in a second. All those little bitty details to basically get you a prediction of what's going to happen next in the market. All right. What exactly is going to occur? Your prediction. Okay. One thing you need to understand about market structure is very powerful, but not every single time when you're doing market structure, will you have, you're basically going to have your same exact bias, and you're going to have high probability trades doing your market structure. But you just need to understand, sometimes market structure may not play out. All right. It's just like any other strategy out there. Market structure is a strategy in itself. Okay. Now, when talking about market structure deals with some basic things such as support and resistance. Okay. We also have things like trend lines. All right. Who else knows some basic things about market structure? Right. This is an interactive course. So, there's no wrong or right answers or anything. Who else knows something? What else do you think market structure is? Right? Test and retest of trend lines. Anything else? What else do we have? And you guys can unmute yourself too. Because I promise you guys, by the end of the night, you guys will all have a basic understanding of market structure. Okay, great. Zones, wonderful. Pullbacks, Love it, love it, love it. Right? Pullbacks, talking about pullbacks. Anything else? History. Love it. History. That's what I was looking for. History, right? History, highs and lows. All those are wonderful, excellent. All those are absolutely right? But I want to touch on history for a second, okay? Because when you're talking market structure, history, past history is going to be a very, very key in order for you guys to be all successful traders, okay? When you're looking at market structure, you want to mainly look at what's happening mostly in the past that's going to allow you to pretty much get your prediction for the future, okay? Anything that happens in the past has to happen in the future, right? You guys, and I'm going to show you guys tonight how what happens in the past, you're going to get you usually typically get a mirror image of the same thing that happened in the past happen in the future, okay? So perfect, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So other things you guys need to understand about market structure, right? Market structure has 3 basic rules, okay? It's very important that you guys write these rules down, okay? The first rule in market structure, all right? You guys want to always make sure you're on your higher time frames, okay? You always want to start off on your higher time frame, okay? That is key to anything because you want a overall bias of exactly what the market is going to be doing. You want an overall picture. You want to see the whole thing, okay? And then upon seeing the whole thing, then you can zoom in to charts like the 15-minute or the 30-minute or even a 5-minute chart, you know? But the higher time frames are going to give you your overall bias of what the market is doing, all right? The second thing you guys want to understand about market structure, okay, not only your higher time frames, but some of the basic rules you're going to get is you have what we call a impulse move, okay? An impulse move is something that happens in market structure all the time, all right? You're always going to get a major impulse move, okay? Now, after your impulse move, right, you typically get what we call a correction, okay? A correction. And a correction can also be called a pullback, okay? It's all the same thing, all right? And then after your impulse, your correction, you typically get what we call a continuation move, okay? A continuation move or a continuation of the major trend, all right? Now, as long as you guys, I promise you this, as long as you understand these concepts right here, these 4 main concepts, okay? And really you only have to understand these 3. But as long as you understand this and you use this every time you go to trade in the markets, I promise you will be successful. Everything else on this left side, okay? Everything else over here are confirmations, okay? All these things over here are going to be your confirmations. But these are the essentials that you need in order to be successful in every trade that you take and every time you go to mark up a chart. These are the essentials that you need, all right? So what I said, let's get to the charts, right? I know you guys are eager to, right? So what we're going to do tonight, right? We're going to go over a couple of different pairs, right? I'm just going to go down the list. You know, if you guys have any, specific pairs that you look at, don't hesitate. Throw them in the chart. We'll take a look at them, okay? So I don't mind doing that at all. So first thing we want to do, what I typically do I just go to any pair, whatever pair I'm looking at, right? We'll start with the GBP pairs, okay? I know a lot of people love the GBPs because they move very fast, all right? So with starting with the GBP pairs, first thing I do is I always go out to my daily time frame, okay? I always go out to my daily time frame or in any pair, right? So my daily is going to show me overall picture of kind of where the market's basically headed, all right? Upon getting to my daily, right, one of the key things I want you guys to always do is over here on your right-hand side, always take your charts to auto fits data to screen, okay? Make sure that is always clicked. Why am I saying that? And I'm saying that because every time you zoom down to a smaller time frame, it's going to take you to exactly what you need to be looking at in the market. Exactly what you need to be looking at. All right. So we're just going to start off on the daily, so first of all. All right. And one thing, when we're talking about those 3 rules, all right, your impulse move, okay, I'm going to draw some lines here, but your impulse move, this is how it typically happens. You guys know a trend is basically consisted of what? Higher highs and higher lows and lower highs, right? Any type of trend that you go on, right? So I'm going to draw a trend in here just for a second, right? And we're going to identify these things on the actual chart. So this is an uptrend, okay? And I'm also going to identify a downtrend for us. All right, perfect. So, right, what we do here, so we're going to take a look at these little areas here. So every area that we have here on the uptrend here, okay, these are what I call peaks, okay? These are what I call peaks. These peaks are very, very important in Forex, okay? Every little peak. You know, some people call them higher highs, higher lows, and lower highs, right? You know, if on the downtrend, we have the lower low, and then we have the lower high up here. Okay, then we have the lower low, and then the lower high, and then the lower low, lower high. All right. So these are what I call mountains, right? I always like to use things in like the simplest terms. And the mountains, for instance, they're going to be used as a key ingredient to your market structure. Okay. Now, what do I mean? So your mountains, anytime you're looking for a trend, right? Because I know a lot of people, they struggle when it comes to identifying the trend. You know, they have questions about where do I draw my trend line? You know, is it perfect here? You know, is it perfect there, right? So I'm going to clear all that stuff up for you to make it a lot easier. Okay, so on a mountain, right? If you think about these peaks, right, as mountains, right? Let me just bring up a picture of a mountain to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. All right, I'm just gonna type in a mountains. Let's see if I can find a good mountain here. All right, look at this. Look at this picture here. So you see how these mountains right here, they have peaks to them, right? Each peak is lower than the last peak. So anytime you're identifying those mountain peaks, okay, that's how you're gonna define your trend line, right? Your trend line needs to always be at the top of those peaks. Does that make sense? Right? Your trend line needs to always be at the top of those peaks. Okay? And, you know, that's obviously for a downtrend. Okay? Now, for uptrend, right? Let's see if we can find an upward mountain. Right? Because it's the same thing on a uptrend. Okay, here we go. Check this out. On an uptrend, your peaks are going to be at the very top, right? See that? Your peaks are going to be at the very, very top. That's how you're going to be to identify your trend. So what does that look like when you're going back to the charts, okay? So when you're identifying those peaks on your chart, right? In this case scenario, here we are on an uptrend, right? We're going to be identifying the trend just like this, okay? There's a specific reason why I'm using lines. I promise you guys, all right? And then on the downtrend, we have here, okay? Now, one of the things I really recommend, okay, I really recommend enclosing your price, okay, enclosing the mountains. So anytime you ever draw a line, you know, I want you guys to always get in the habit of cloning that line. Okay, because when you clone that one line, all right, it's going to draw you an identical line where you can connect the bottom of that, right? Most of you guys know this is what we call a channel, right? But I call it just basically enclosing price itself, okay? So because when you enclose price, right, you basically know how far price may go up, you know how far price may go down, all right? Just from simply enclosing price itself, just like that, right? So we may have a channel here. Does everybody see how that concept works, right? Just like that. All right, perfect, perfect. So if you understand this concept here, just type I in the chat box for me and let me know that you got it. I want to make sure everybody's got it. Perfect, perfect. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right. So we're going to take that same concept, right? Okay, no problem. I'll repeat it. So yeah, definitely. So anytime, right? Anytime that you're identifying those mountain peaks, okay? Anytime you're identifying those peaks of the mountain, right? What you want to do is just basically when you take your trend line, right? When you draw a trend line, you just want to connect those peaks. You see the peak here? 1 peak, 2 peak, 3 peak, 4 peak, right? You want to connect those peaks of the mountain, right? And once you clone it, you're going to get an identical line, okay? And you can connect the bottom of those peaks. All right? Does that make sense? Just connecting the bottom of those peaks. All right? So what does that look like exactly on your chart? Okay? What I do, this is what I do, right? To identify those peaks, right? Because right now we have a lot of noise, right? We have a lot of noise, a lot of these candlesticks on our chart, right? So to numb it down, right, what I do is I simply switch. I go up here to the top. And this is tradingview.com, if anyone doesn't know. But I go up here to the top, and I go down to what is called a line chart, okay? Now, on my line chart, okay, this is where I'm going to be able to clearly identify those peaks of a mountain, all right? Let me show you guys, okay? Check this out. When I go in here to identify those peaks of a mountain, see, here's a peak, right? Here's a peak, right? I'm just identifying those major outside peaks, right? So once you start identifying those major outside peaks, that right there will give you a big advantage in the market, okay? That'll give you a big advantage in the market. Let me show you what I'm talking about, okay? And I'm just taking the very, very outside, right? These little peaks, okay? Once I have clearly identified my peaks, I will grab a trend line, okay? And this is why I start connecting them, okay? You don't have to connect every last one of them, but I start from the very bottom or the very top, okay? And I'll go in here and I'll connect one peak to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, okay? And then I'll extend this line out just like this, okay? Just like that. And I'll drop it. Let me get rid of this one over here. Let me get rid of these. Yada, 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 yada. Get rid of some of these out of here. And that one. All right. We'll leave those other circles there. All right. Perfect. So immediately after I draw that one line, okay, let me show you what that does to you guys, right? So once you draw that line, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Once you draw that line, okay, you can switch back to your candles to see how that reacted, how each of those reacted off your line, okay? If you start to see things, this is how you know your trend line is accurate, okay? Let me show you guys something. Look how right here, right? If you pay attention to this area right here, look how you see no wick or anything. When you draw your trend line, right? One way you can tell it's very accurate is if you switch back to the candles, okay? Look in this area, and you see there's a wick. That wicks your trend line, okay? If you see that right there, that is a big indication. That is a confirmation that your trend line is accurate. It's very accurate, okay? Now, what you have to do is simply take that trend line and clone it. Just clone it. That way you're going to get an identical line, right? And what you want to do, you don't want to adjust this any type of way. You want to keep it the way it is. but you want to get to the other side, right? You can go back to your line chart, and you want to drag this line to the other side of your other peaks, your other side of the mountain, right? So here's the bottom of the mountain, and here's the top of the mountain, okay? So I'm looking, how do I know this line is accurate? What am I looking for, right? I'm just connecting this peak to this peak, and I'm extending this line out. I'm looking for right here to see possibly if I can get a wick here. This is going to tell me that this is very accurate. Let's see if I can get that wick. Look at there. Wick right up there, right? Right? So upon doing that, now I have enclosed price, right? Just like we used the example that was up here. I have now enclosed price in, right? All right. So when we're looking at the 3 rules, let's talk about the 3 rules for a second, okay? Let's zoom in. When we're looking at the 3 rules, right? Impulsive move. An impulsive move is going to be that first major move, right? That's going to go in the direction of the trend, right? Now, obviously, you guys can see here, this is a uptrend, right? All right, we would obviously say this is an uptrend, okay? So that first major move is my impulse move, right? Impulse, okay? After I get my impulse, what's my second rule, right? Who was paying attention? What's my second rule after I get that impulsive move?
Correction.
Correction. The correction, right? So I'm going to get me a correction, right? After I get the correction, what comes next?
Continuation.
The continuation. You guys are exactly right, right? Next comes the major continuation move, right? And you're going to see this happen in this sequence, 1, 2, 3 sequence all the time in Forex trading. I promise you, if you follow those 3 rules, you're going to be successful, right? And your third rule, okay, just depending on where you start, okay, your continuation can also be considered your impulse move, okay? So here we are again, impulse, correction, continuation. Impulse, correction, continuation. It's like a 1, 2, 3 sequence, right? It's like we're going back to, you know, middle school, and we're counting our 1, 2, 3s. Impulse, correction, continuation. Impulse, correction, continuation. Why is that happening in the foreign exchange market? That's because we're never going to see price just do this and just keep going in that one direction. We're never going to see that, right? Price it's always going to stall and give us some type of pullback, right? We're always going to get this in that motion, right? Now, sometimes, you know, one impulse may be longer than another, or one correction may be longer than another, which that is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? That's just part of how the market reacts. But if you understand that basic concept, you understand Forex, okay? Now, what happens when price gets outside of your trend line? Well, what happens, right? Do we, you know, get away from the rules? No, we don't, right? We don't get away from the rules. We go back and we do the same exact thing, right? One of the things I want you guys to get comfortable with in trading is being consistent. In order for you to be consistent in trading, you guys have to be doing the same exact thing over and over again, okay? That's where a lot of different traders fail, because they see a lot of different strategies and a lot of different things, and they don't just stick to one thing, okay? We have to learn to stay with one thing, because I promise you guys, if you stay with one thing and learn one thing only, right? I'm not saying all the other information out there is, you know, I'm not saying that it's not good information. It's wonderful information, okay? But typically in a trader's mind, right? This is going to be a little bit mindset course too as well. But typically in a trader's mind, right? Sometimes we have the ability to gain too much information, okay? And when we gain too much information, right, it starts to cloud our judgment, right?
Yeah.
It starts to cloud our judgment when we gain too much information. So we can't do that. All right. That's why it's important for you guys to stick with one thing. And even if that one thing does not work one time, okay, the whole point of trading is when you're becoming consistent in trading, okay, you want to make sure that the trading style that you're using, you're going to have a higher probability in trading more than anything. Okay. I'm not going to make this a big mindset course, right? But just a tip, right? And what am I talking about exactly there? Even if you just did exactly simply what I just did here, okay? This is a daily chart, guys. Just look. Every time this touched down here, what did it do? It went up, right? Every time it touched down here, it went up. Let's just measure how many pips it was here, right? You took this trade there. That's easily 500 pips. That's easily another 600 pips. That's easily another 500 pips. That's easily another 600 pips. That's easily another 700 pips. Okay, granted, boo, big deal. It got right here, and you had a stop loss here, and you lost 100 pips. But who cares? You just gained 500, 500, 500, 500. I don't know the math, but that's insane, right? That's some numbers right there. That's what trading is all about, all right? Having higher probability trades in whatever style trading you choose, okay? But, I ain't going to get there. Anyways, sometimes I get off course because, I get excited, But check this out, okay? So once you see you have a major break in your trend line that you drew, right? Don't differentiate from the rules. Do the same exact thing again and over again, right? So here we are again. What are we doing? We're identifying those peaks, right? And we just want those highest peaks, right? I'm going to put these in blue, okay? All I'm looking for is my higher peaks. And I'm going to show you guys how exactly we got to this week. Okay, check this out. All right, I'm going to draw a trend line yet again from my highest peak, right? Now, granted, when price was down here, yes, right? You would have started here and drew this here, okay? Then it crossed here, okay? Then it crossed there, right? So we don't really need this. We could easily take this line because price is now crossed, right? We want to adapt to what the market is doing, right? We can't never tell you what the market is doing, but we want to adapt, right? This is why we have to do markups every week, okay? This is why we have to do that. Like I said, clone this line, okay? Drag it down to where you see bottom peaks, okay? So where you can see bottom peaks, right? So here we are. So what am I doing here? Why did I put this line here, okay? Because I'm trying to connect this peak, get close to this peak here. I could easily put this here too, right? If I want to just connect this one and this one, extend this line out, right? Let's see how that looks, okay? I'm looking for a possible wick here, maybe. I'm looking for, possibly some action down here in this area. Let's see if I can get it. Perfect, look at there. Wick, right? That tells me what I'm looking at is accurate, right? So now I have in close price, and you guys see how, I want to show you something. I started from the left side, and I am now slowly working my way over to the right side, okay? Right? So now I'm over here, okay? So what's happening over here, right? What's happening over here, right? So once we have clearly identified what's currently happening in current price, okay, right? And current price, when you guys are doing your markups, you don't have to go back, the 1982. You don't have to do that, right? You can just look at, you got to keep in mind, these are daily candles, okay? So you can keep in mind that, there's a lot of action going on, just here in the past couple of months, right? There's just a lot of action here, okay? So when we're looking at this, right, I'm actually going to bring this line up here because when I look at this on a closer scale, what I'm paying attention to are these peaks, right? Because these are a little bit more accurate. So I'm paying attention to these little peaks here. So what I want to try to do is maybe, right, if I see price constantly rejecting in an open space area, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get as close as possible to that open space area, right? I'm going to try to get as close as possible to that open space area. So maybe something like this, okay? I'm going to look to see what that looks like on my daily time frame. Now look at here. That's amazing, right? That is amazing. Look at here. This did not even touch here. This didn't touch here, okay? But what did it do? It wicked. It wicked. That's how I know I'm accurate, okay? So from looking at that, right, what I'm going to do, once I have clearly identified, you know, I've enclosed price on the daily time frame, what am I going to do next, right? This is where I do my what we call top-down analysis, okay? So I'm going to shoot down to a 4-hour time frame, okay? And on my 4-hour time frame, this is where I'm going to ask myself. I'm going to ask myself, what do I see, right? Is the first thing I'm going to do, right? Because the 4-hour time frame, or, you know, even 1 hour, you can shoot down to 1 hour. But these time frames, maybe I have to move somebody out here. Can you guys please mute your mic for me?
I take care of residents, older people.
I'm not sure what that is.
It's really easy work.
Well, you don't like fun here?
It's okay. It's okay, but it's okay.
She works here and
can you please mute your mic?
Okay.
Yeah, she's young and she's doing
Hold on, Jeff.
I'll get that.
I think
The recording and everything. Let me see who is.
Well,
it turns up.
no. I went to work.
You work tomorrow?
Yep.
What time? 38.
Yeah.
I'll be
Okay, I don't even see who it is. Mute everybody. Just
I don't either.
And then unmute yourself.
Okay, there you go, Jeff.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, so what am I clearly looking at on my lower time frames, right? My lower time frames are going to be able to show me, you know, just more candlesticks, okay? But I'm still going to have those same lines that I drew on my daily, you know, on my 4-hour time frame, okay? So when I go down to my lower time frame, all right, this is where I start identifying things like support, things like resistance, okay? You know, the small details that give me a little bit more confirmation that the market may go in a certain direction, okay? So when I'm looking at this on a lower time frame, right, I'm looking here, I'm asking to myself, okay, what happened here? What happened every single time price came here and touched these lows, right? What is happening, right? Every single time price came here and touched these lows, it rose, right? So this is, you can consider this line to be a very strong what? A very strong what? Support or resistance line. Let's see again. Exactly. A very strong support line. Okay. So could price potentially break through here? Yes, absolutely. Right? Could it potentially break through here like it did? Yes, it can. Okay. But majority of the time, right, I'm looking for, this is already giving me my bias of what I could potentially be looking next to happen in the market, right? If you guys know, just by looking at the past, remember I said history, right? So if you guys know, simply by looking at the past, what happened every time price came down here to these areas, what do you more than likely expect for GU to potentially do next? What do you think GU is going to potentially do next? Anybody?
It's going to go back up.
It's going to go back up, right? It's going to go back up. You're exactly right, right? So what are we expecting GU to do next week? Go back up, potentially, right? We're potentially seeing that it may go back up, okay? And once I'm seeing this, right? Now, when I'm seeing this, I'm like, okay, well, price has a potential to potentially go all the way back up here, right? But if we were looking at a smaller scale, right, we could just zoom down, right? We could go to a little bit lower time frame, okay? And we could be looking at this, right? Because when you switch to your line chart, now you're going to see even smaller peaks, okay? And you're going to do the same exact thing. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. You're going to identify those peaks, and you're going to say to yourself, oh, okay, this is the top of the mountain, right? So what is the potential, right? What am I potentially seeing price to go up to, right? On a smaller scale, I'm looking at price has a potential to go all the way back up here. Just like that, right? Because this is what we consider to be a trend, right? Obviously, we're trending in a downward motion, so you're probably going to have more sell opportunities than buys, right? But there's a potential that you could get all the way back up here, right? Mark my words, I guarantee you the queen of the clouds, she's going to call next week some type of buy opportunity on some type of G pair, right? That's getting a little bit more advanced with it, okay? Because typically, when one G pair does one thing, especially when the major pairs, right? This is market structure stuff too, key note. But when major pairs do one thing, the rest will follow it, okay? They do like a little thing, what I call follow the leader, right? You know, it's like the major pairs are the parents, okay? Your major pairs are anything with USD dollar in it, okay? So typically, that's what you'll see happen, right? So let's just say, for instance, this is our markup for GU next week, you know, basic markup, okay? Now, granted, what could we do, right? What are some other things that we could do to, you know, to confirm this bias, right? This is where we start talking about things like support, things like, you know, resistance. This is where you start drawing lines on your chart. But do you see how, without us even going to the confirmation stuff, right? We already have a bias of potentially what's to happen, okay? You guys see that, right? So when we start drawing things like support and resistance, what are we looking for? Well, what if I told you guys you're looking for the same thing, right? You're looking for those mountains yet again. You switch back to the line chart, but you start seeing the mountains on a little bit, you know, just the tops and the bottoms of it, right? What do I mean? Okay. So look how up here, this was a mountain here. Okay. So I would draw a line going across like this. So I'm going to start identifying just major mountains. Look at here. Okay. Look how I draw this here. And I'm just going to draw this across. All I'm doing is going to these peaks here, right? And I'm just drawing across. Just the major ones, right? I'm probably going to look at this peak. I'm going to draw this across here too. Maybe I'll look at these peaks here, and I'll draw a line across here too, okay? And chances are, if I draw that line here, you could probably extend this back here, okay? You know? And bring this down. I'm just going to bring this down just a little bit so we can look at like this peak. You know, I'm going to draw that straight across, okay? So look what happens when I switch back to the candles. Look how price, if we're starting here, look how price is just reacting off those peaks. Look at that. Isn't that amazing, right? I didn't even extend this one over here, but look at there. Isn't that amazing how price is just going to react off these peaks each time? Okay? And I'm talking about the same rules, guys, but you remember how I talked about impulse, correction, continuation? Okay? It's the same thing on these smaller scales. The same exact thing. All right? But instead of it going vertically, right, it's going to be moving up and down now. Right? What do I mean? Check this out. Watch. This is crazy stuff. Right? This is about to blow somebody's mind for real. But look at here. A impulse move of a break of a zone. We came back, correct that zone, and we had a continuation. Wow. Break of a zone, correction, and we still had a continuation. Wow. This is going to happen all the time. Impulse move, corrected itself, retest, somebody may call it, and we're going down, right? Everybody wonders what happened with GU earlier today. You know, if you didn't catch the drop, well, it was that simple. All it did was break up a zone. It came back, it retested that zone, and it came right back down, right? It's literally that simple, right? If you got that, say I got it, right? Type I got it in the chat box if you got it, if that makes sense. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. All right. It's literally following those 3 basic simple rules is what's going to allow you guys to be successful. Okay. Just those simple rules and following those little bitty things. All right. Perfect. All right. All right. Perfect. So I got a little bit more time here. All right. So when we're talking about those 3 basic rules, right? I'm going to show you guys also an easy way, right? If it's hard for you to understand how to draw your support, how to draw your resistance, okay? I'm going to show you an easy way you can clearly identify your support and resistance, right? I'm just going to erase everything off my chart here, right? And we may not even get to all these pairs, but I promise you guys next week, we'll start getting more and more in depth. But I want you guys to understand the foundation first before we start moving to other stuff, right? So if you can't understand how we got that, right? What you guys can easily do, okay? What you can easily do is you can click on your charts, and I want you to go to settings. All right, I want you to go to appearance, and I want you to put in your session breaks, okay? Your session breaks are going to show you each day, right? So I'm just going to label a couple of days in here, right? I'm going to put F for Friday. I'm going to put TH for Thursday. I'm going to put WE for Wednesday, and I'm going to put TU for Tuesday, and I'm going to put M for Monday, right? Watch how powerful this is, guys. Okay? Watch how powerful this is. Okay? So look at here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? All right, here we go. Check this out. So what you could do, right? Wherever you see Monday is, okay? Wherever you see Monday is, right? You can just draw, grab a horizontal line. The Mondays, the top of wherever you see the top of candles is, right? Monday's high of the day, right? You can easily take a little line and just place it on Monday's high, okay? Then you could also come here and place it on Monday's low, okay? Now look at here. This is amazing stuff. This is amazing stuff, right? I'm going to put this on Tuesday's low, okay? And I'm also going to put this on Tuesday's high, right? I'm just going to mark Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to show you guys how powerful this is, right? If you've had a hard time identifying support and resistance, I'm going to make this a whole lot easier for you right now. We're not even looking at the whole chart. This is just looking at 1 week in particular. Look at this. This is amazing. Look at this. Look how Monday, the high of Monday, acted as a major resistance. Oh my God, Jeff, you just said some wild stuff. Look at this. Look at this. Look how everybody could have caught the GU drop that happened this week. Look how everybody could have caught that just by simply doing that little small detail right there. And look at that. You guys would have got a perfect entry, a wick. Who's ever got that wick entry, right? You guys would have got a perfect entry. And look, you could have held that trade for the rest of the week. How many pips was that? I'm just curious. That was over 132 pips. Started on a Thursday, ended on a Friday. Right? Look at that. That is amazing. Right? This is how Ecclesiastes 11 are catching these moves, guys. Like, seriously. This is how, if you guys put these tools together, right? Let's just say, for instance, if I went in here, right? Right? Some of you guys know basics of cloud. You know, I'm not going to get too high tech with it, right? But look at this. Remember I told you guys once you identify one strategy, you're going to basically be able to have it down pat, right? But look at here. Look how you guys could have done that, and look how it goes with the cloud. Look how it goes with the cloud. Look how the web analyzer was able to identify that, right? TK crossover, right? TK crossover. Look how it was able to identify that move. Simple stuff, right? You guys have to use the tools that's in front of you. Use these tools, and I promise you, you'll be successful. Web analyzer, you know, use the strategy. Ecclesiastes 11. All these are wonderful strategies, guys. Right? Imagine if you have the power of using just raw data. Okay? Imagine if you just have the power of using raw data, and then you take whatever strategy you put on it. It's like golden. It's like golden, right? You already have a bias, and then your strategy just confirms it. Your strategy confirmed the move you already knew what was going to happen. How about that? That's amazing stuff, right? So if you're that hard person that, you know, that still struggles with, you know, support resistance, or, you know, you're just now learning about it, look, that's an easy way you can identify it, right? Impulse, correction, continuation. Impulse, correction, continuation. Came here, right? Rose all the way up to here. Okay? Did we get a retest here? Impulse, correction, continuation. Even when we got here last night, impulse broke this zone, corrected itself, another perfect entry, and it just continued falling. Right? What did we say the original trend was? Right? When we did our overall bias, right? The original trend was going in what motion? Why did this sell? Well, Jeff, I don't know. Maybe because it was on a downtrend. See that? Maybe it was because it was on a downtrend. We didn't need EMAs. We didn't need anything that told us that. Right? On which candle do I decide it's the entry? Right? Any of these candles. Right? Any of them. Right? I personally don't take a trade unless I get a retest of a zone. No retest, no entry.
Excuse me, Jeff.
Yeah, of course.
Could you do me a favor, and could you just repeat and show how you was able to separate the Monday through Friday, where you click and put the separators in?
Yeah, of course. So what you want to do is you want to right click on your mouse and go to settings. And you want to go right here where it says session breaks. Okay? Session breaks. All right?
Okay.
And you just click on that, and that's going to automatically put these little lines here that you're seeing pop up on the chart. All right? To show you your daily. Now, it won't show up on your, it won't show up if you go to your daily time frame. Okay? Because these are daily candles. So you have to be on the 4-hour time frame, 4-hour time frame or below to get those. Okay? 4-hour time frame or below.
Okay, but then you wrote on there. How did you write on them?
There's a tool up here. Well, it wouldn't be up there. If you scroll over here on your left-hand panel, right? It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth tab. You can click here, and this tab that says text. You just click there, right? Click that panel.
Thank you. You're amazing.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. Right? All right. So that's going to be able to help you guys out extremely, right? If I'm just curious, right? I like participation. I'm just curious, right? I want you guys to judge me on my work. You know, it sounds crazy, but I do. But you know, if you did that simple thing right there, who thinks that would, you know, increase their numbers and their probability of trading just by doing that alone? Who thinks that? I'm just curious. Oh yeah, heck yeah, heck yeah, right? Perfect, wonderful, wonderful, right? There's no simple things, right? My job for you guys, I'm telling you, I'm gonna make this as simple as possible for you to understand it. You know, I have a wonderful auntie, and she taught me the most simplest ways, right? The most simplest stuff. You know, I'm pretty sure you guys all know her line. You know, she's talking about, you know, stay in the car ride, right? Don't get out at the red light. I mean, who knows that? Well, I'm pretty sure all you guys have heard about that right now, right? Well, I had to learn in the simplest ways. It's the simple stuff like that that can really change your trading, right? Don't overcomplicate it. It's not hard. Guys, I promise you, each and every last one of you on this call, I promise you, each and every last one of you on this call knows how to trade already. But there's one thing that's holding you back, and that's you. The only thing holding you back is you. All right? So I got a little bit of time here. I'm going to open it up, right? That's today's session, right, for right now. I promise you guys we're going to get into more detail each and every single week and building more on top of this concept, right, one week after another. But we're going to stop there. I'm going to open it up for any questions anybody may have. So if you have any questions, the floor is open.
You got to type.
Will this be posted on?
I could not hear that question. Say that again.
Will this be posted in YouTube or in the group chat, the recording?
I'm not sure. I'll have to talk. To Kathy and Shantae about that to see, you know, what they want to do as far as that goes. So I don't know the answer to that one.
When they post the shit?
Hey, Jeff.
How are you?
Oh, good. That was a wonderful training. Actually, I missed half of it, but I hope we're going to have something like this coming up next week, Friday.
Please mute your if you're not talking, please mute your mic.
Okay.
If you don't mind. All right, so whoever was asking that question, unmute yourself. not you, unmute yourself. I can't remember who it was.
Hello?
Yes.
How do you said that we have to ask Shantae for a recording, because I literally want to study this for a whole week. Like seriously, like this has been the most broken down that I could get. Like I really just want to study this video over and over and over and over again.
And got you. Yeah, I'll definitely talk with them for sure. To see what we can do to get this information out to you guys, so you guys can definitely study it. You know, and if it comes to you know, if you guys are really liking this information, if it comes to a point to, you know, where you guys are really liking it, then I may, right, see what the schedule looks like to get on here, you know, more than one time a week, to, you know, constantly give value out to you guys.
We would really love that. So you trying to make it where it's recurring every week, this session?
Yes, as of right now, this session will be reoccurring every single week.
Oh my God,
so,
thank you.
Yeah,
This
so
will
right
be,
now
yeah.
you will be getting it, Camila, once a week, because we have the other schedules that's out with calculating the PIP, how to put in a trade, how to trade with me. Then we have the older group, the group that's your age that has training to where we training according to your ability to learn. But Jeff, my nephew, he will be on once a week, and then my other nephew, he'll be on every other Saturday, depending on if he has to drill or not. But this is what our team does, and so my nephew is back to start doing market structure, and if we can, depending on his schedule. So we had scheduled it out based off of that in the beginning, depending on his schedule, and if we have any free space, it may be a little later in the night. But you'll be, if he's available, he can get on.
Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate this. Like, seriously.
Oh, you're welcome. He's
You're
good.
welcome.
He's a Kirkland.
He's a genius.
Yes, he is. Now wait, he's the baby. He's the baby genius, and then we got the professor coming on tomorrow.
Jeff, are you in Texas as well?
Look at the
I'm in North Carolina.
I want to fly out to you.
I may have to host like a market structure boot camp or something for you guys.
Yeah, I'll pay. I will pay.
Yeah, I'll pay too. I don't mind to come to North Carolina for that.
Tell me
It's
that we already
awesome.
paid.
What part of North Carolina?
Look
What
at the
part of North
time.
Carolina?
I'm part of right outside of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's right outside of Raleigh, North Carolina.
I'm ready to pay. Give me a price.
Yeah, I'll drive. I'll drive to you.
We gotta host you in California too, though.
Well, we'll definitely see about if I can't get out to all the states. It's my goal, guys. No matter what, it is my goal to help. My end goal is to help over 1 million families. To get to financial freedom. That is my end goal for each and every last one of you guys. So until that goal is done, I'm not stopping no time soon. I can't. It's in my blood.
Jeff for boot camp.
Well, he will be following me towards the end of the year at the other boot camp, so you guys will be able to see him. We'll have a section for market structure, and then we have the other section for ECC 11. We usually do market structure, the mindset, and then go into just straight trading. So you'll see Jeff a lot more on the road towards the end of the year. He's getting ready to have a baby, so we have to wait till the baby is born. So, she's close to her due date. And the rule is, your wife pregnant and baby's getting ready to due, we don't get on the road because you need to be in the delivery room.
Congratulations, Jeff.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, so looks like we're about at our time. Dr. Kathy has to get ready for Crypto Club, so I hope all of you join her on that channel. Make sure you guys shout Jeff out for the market structure that he did. Make sure you shout him out, tag him on Facebook, put it in the Telegram, everything. Shout him out and tell him if you weren't on, shame on you. You need to get on the next one. Can y'all do that?
Of course.
I'm getting ready to do that right now.
Are you doing it right now?
I'm going to Facebook, Telegram. I'm going everywhere.
Okay, Jeff, you didn't have to cut off. You got about 30 more minutes or 45 to 50 more
No, he
minutes.
got 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
I just thought
Oh,
maybe
God.
because I walked back in and you were talking. He has 15 minutes.
No, you're fine. So I know a couple of you guys also had some more questions. So
Hey,
we'll definitely get to some questions.
Some of us on the West Coast kind of missed the first part of your training. Was there anything within the first 15 minutes that we missed?
Yeah, it was a whole lot. It was a whole lot.
Was really good. So,
the kind of sum up the very first part. We talked about the peaks of mountains, okay, and really identifying your trend based off of the concept of thinking, off the peaks of mountains. For instance, if you have this mountain, you see how if you take each and every peak, all right, on a mountain, you would connect a trend line to it, just like that, all right? And definitely once you do that, you want to clone your trend line, all right? Exactly how I just drew it here on the chart. I know that green looks kind of weird, but exactly how you do it there is the exact same way that you would do it here, by simply going to your line chart and connecting those peaks, okay? And that's mainly the first part, was just connecting those peaks to the mountain to get to your official, actual trend. All right. And establishing your trend. And then just taking that line once you have drawn it up, instead of, going in here, drawing a whole nother line somewhere else, just taking that particular line that you did draw and cloning it. I actually got to draw it on here. All right. So let's say if I had this right here, but cloning this line to actually, and then just taking it, don't arrange it any type of other way. Just clone it and move it either up or down, up or down. And if you move it down, to get to the other side of the mountain, which is kind of going to look like the opposite, but to move it down to get to the other side of the mountain, you'll see once you get to the opposite end, basically how the trades are going to react off the opposite end of the mountain. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's basically the first part.
Ooh, amen to this.
All right.
Thank you for making it simple.
Yeah, of course. What other questions you guys got?
Jeff, could you please, the chart, when you put in the Monday to Tuesday, could you just do that again?
Yeah, of course. So what you want to do is go to your settings, right? So you're going to right click on your chart and go down to where it says settings. Right over here to the left, you want to go to session breaks, right? We'll first go to appearance if you're not on appearance, but click appearance and go to session breaks, okay? And that's going to put the lines on your chart, okay? And then, of course, you just have to go in there and label, Friday, Monday, whatever. You can change the color of the sessions and all that good stuff.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What other questions you guys got?
Jeff, what do you start Monday at? Over to the left of the chart?
Yeah, so what you really want to do is when you put in your session breaks, you really want to start at whatever day you're on here, okay? And based off of whatever day you're on, you just kind of just count back. So one thing how you'll know you'll get to a Monday is by when you look at the date, you're going to see a big gap, okay? So look how this over here, everything over here was the 19th, right? Look how it immediately switched from the 19th to the 21st.
Oh.
That's how you know it's going to be Monday. It'll just switch. You'll start skipping days because obviously we don't count Sunday as a real trading day. Sunday is really included in Monday. Okay? Because the market opens on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? And so really Monday doesn't officially start till around 12 o'clock midnight, right? So Monday officially for us, starts, at 12 o'clock or whatever. But, as far as trading goes, it starts, right here in this area. Okay. So keep that in mind. Don't get confused about that because it's just this first area is going to be Sunday. And then everything after that is going to really start Monday. Good question. Everything after, like right here or something. They're going to start Monday. Boop. Oh, yes. An auto time frame. Make sure when you go over here to the right-hand side of your chart, make sure you go to auto fits data to screen. Why? Because every time you go to a new time frame, it's going to automatically take you to what you need to be looking at. Okay. So you don't have to worry about looking at, the whole chart. So if I go from my daily and I go to the 4 hour, it's going to put me in a 4 hour range, what I need to be looking at. It's no point of looking anything past here. If I go to the 1 hour, it's going to take me to exactly what I need to be looking at on the 1 hour, right? And you guys can clearly see trend on the 1 hour, right? Trend on the 1 hour. Like I said, you could easily clone that line, and put a top on it, just like something like this. Or, you could even put a top up here somewhere, okay? But just like that. It's going to take you, each time frame is going to take you to where you need to automatically be looking at. All right.
And you said it's called auto fix data, you said?
Yep. Over here on the right hand side where you see these numbers.
Okay.
All right. Over here, just right click and it says auto fits data to screen. And what I'll do over the weekend, I'll mark some charts up like how we did tonight for everybody that's still on the call. I'll mark some charts up, you know, with the basic rules so you guys can have, you know, just a anticipation, right, of what may to come next week. I'll do that for you guys. Mark a couple pairs up and post them in the Telegram chat for you.
Right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And when we first look at the first thing, we want to look at the impulse move, the correction pullback, and then the continuation, correct?
That's it. Impulse, correction, continuation. And there it is here. Impulse, correction, continuation. 1, 2, 3. Impulse, correction, continuation. Just the 1, 2, 3 thing. 1, 2, 3 ABCs. You're welcome. All right. Any other questions, guys, before we get out of here? All right. Perfect. Well, guys, you know, your education does not stop here. Hop on, you know, Dr. K's crypto. Hop on that. Get some valuable information. It's never it's never enough to have too much information. Okay. Hop on. Learn about cryptos. Learn about how you can trade over the weekend. You know, if you're off on the weekend, you want a little bit of extra money. You know, learn that stuff. All right. It's not going to do anything but help you guys out in the future. I promise. All right. Yep.
Jeff?
Yep.
Okay. When you find that you have to beg persons for questions, know that you have taught very well. Excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
When
you.
you have
Thank
to
you.
beg for questions, you have done a good job.
Look, I want you guys to ask every question that comes to your mind, right? Don't ever be scared to ask me any question because I promise you no question is a dumb question. Ask if it's the simplest of the simplest, ask it. If it comes to the mind, ask it. If you don't understand something, ask it. I want you to ask questions. You'll be surprised. There's so many people that don't ask questions and they don't understand what they need to be understanding. It's because they didn't ask a question.
Yeah, that's so true.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. And trust me, we all are. All right, guys. Well, that is my time. I got to get out of here. Thank you guys so much once again. And I will see you guys back here next Friday. You guys take care.
Thank you, Jeff. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.